Idaho Code 74-2042 permits public agencies like the West Bonner County School District to hold emergency meetings under certain conditions. The statute requires public agencies to state at the outset of the meeting the reason for the meeting. This statement fulfills that requirement. Pursuant to the statute of our board policy 1500, the West Bonner County School District does have reasonable cause to hold an emergency meeting due to a likelihood of financial loss, especially in light of the letter sent to the district on August 16th by the State Board of Education, which on multiple occasions intimated and explicitly stated that without timely response, the district would likely experience significant financial loss. Given the gravity of the situation and the deadline set forth by the State Board of Education, an emergency exists in which necessitates this meeting. As a volunteer board which requires the counsel of both our legal representation and our superintendent and other staff, it was impracticable to meet the notice requirements in this emergency situation. Although it should be noted, we tried to do so anyway, and we're only 15 minutes short of the 24 hours. Further, delaying this meeting to another day in order to meet the notice requirement would have also increased the likelihood of financial loss due to the inability of the board to properly direct staff and legal counsel to respond to the State Board of Education as required by the deadline imposed upon us. With that, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I need a motion to amend the agenda and emergency meeting via roll call vote.
I make a motion to amend the agenda meeting.
Okay, I have a first. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
And I have a statement before you call for a roll call vote. I understand what you said in terms of the emergency meeting, but I do want to make this statement that we had the State Board of Education letter in hand, deadline known for almost a week, and we could have scheduled this meeting up front. I don't think we needed to wait till everybody was ready. We know that we needed to have a planning meeting, and I realized that we created our own emergency.
Okay, we have a first and second. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Hall here.
Trustee Barton here.
Trustee Reinhold here.
Trustee Brown here.
Chairman Rutledge here. Okay. I need a motion to bring to the table declaring an emergency pursuant to Idaho Code 33-1203 and associated matters.
I move that the Board of Trustees of West Bonner County School District do now declare an emergency pursuant to the Idaho Code 33-1203, and said emergency shall be in whole force and effect from August 31st of 2023 until June 30th of 2024. Such emergency declaration shall be provided to the Idaho State Board of Education and also added as an addendum to the Superintendent Durst's contract upon the signatures of the chairman and the superintendent.
I have a first. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay.
I need that rewritten. I need that read again because we did not receive it up front, and obviously Vice Chair Brown had it beforehand, so I do want to know. I need to have that read over again more slowly.
Sure. I move that the Board of Trustees of the West Bonner County School District do now declare an emergency pursuant to Idaho Code 33-1203, and said emergency shall be in whole force and effect from August 31st of 2023 until June 30th of 2024. Such emergency declaration shall be provided to the Idaho State Board of Education and and also added as an addendum to Superintendent Durst's contract upon the signatures of the chairman and the superintendent.
I make a motion to amend that motion. That motion should include, besides the change in the addendum from June 31st to June 31st through, August 31st through June 30th, 2024, as an addendum to his contract. A correction does need to be made to his contract because it was because it was not correctly under termination of employment contract, item B, it was not appropriately corrected. Other qualifying designations was agreed to be struck from that language, and it continues to be in item B. So that if there is an addendum to his contract, that needs to be also done.
I have a first.
I'll second that amendment.
All those in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
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 All those opposed? Nay.
Nay.
Okay.
I would call for a vote on my initial motion.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion, can I read the motion, please? All those in favor of the motion of declaring emergency pursuant of Idaho Code 33-1203 and said emergency shall be in whole force and effect from August 31st, 2023 till June 30th, 2024. An emergency shall be provided by the Idaho Board of Education and also added to the addendum to Superintendent Durst's contract upon the signatures of the chairman and superintendent. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those
Before that
opposed?
goes through, I'm going to go ahead and say that I am abstaining because unfortunately this meeting did not give us 24 hours notice. This is an emergency meeting but doesn't qualify under the emergency Idaho Code 74-204. And so I will be abstaining from this because this all should be null and void.
Okay. The motion carries.
And
Next.
Well, Margaret didn't vote.
I did not vote. I will say no to the matter.
Okay. So I have, the motion still carries. Next, I need a motion. I need a motion directing Superintendent Durst to apply for an emergency provisional certificate to serve as West Bonner County Superintendent and associated matters.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion. I move that the Board of Trustees of West Bonner County School District do now instruct and otherwise compel Superintendent Durst to apply to the Idaho State Board of Education with the aid of legal district counsel for an emergency provisional certificate for the purpose of serving as West Bonner County School District Superintendent for the 2023-2024 school year by a date no later than August 31st of 2023. And further move that upon submission of this application, that any provisionals related to the certification of the superintendent's agreement shall be null, void, and hereby fulfilled in its entirety.
Okay. I have a first. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Discussion.
I will ask Vice Chair Brown to read that once again, please, for the record.
Yes, Ms. Hall. I move that the Board of Trustees of West Bonner County School District do now instruct and otherwise compel Superintendent Durst to apply to the Idaho State Board of Education with the aid of district legal counsel for an emergency provisional certificate for the purpose of serving as West Bonner County School District Superintendent for the 2023 to 2024 school year by a date no later than August 31st of 2023. And further move that upon submission of this application, that any provisions related to the certification of the superintendent's agreement shall be null, void, and hereby fulfilled fulfilled in its entirety.
So please explain any provision, that last phrase, would you? For clarification, Vice Chair Brown, please read the last sentence again. Any provision, what will become null and void?
I'd like a copy of your
You know,
motions
what you're
also.
reading. I think it's inappropriate that the board has, other board members has not seen what you're actually reading in terms of
Yeah.
the
We have
motion.
copies going around.
There's no comment? Point of order?
Point of order.
I still, my question still stands, if Vice Chair Brown will still read that last statement, starting with any provision.
That any provision related to the certification in the superintendent's agreement shall be null, void, and hereby fulfilled in its entirety. I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
So for clarification then, is that striking the addendum, is that striking other designated qualifications? Is that changing item B on the addendum? And item B states, the board shall retain the option to immediately terminate this contract should superintendent be required by Idaho Code to obtain and maintain an Idaho superintendent certification or provisional certification. Incorrectly, it also states other qualifying designation, because if you look at our recording at that date and time on June 28th, it was struck, which allows him to conduct the duties of superintendent as per Idaho Code law throughout the term of this agreement, provided that the provisional certification, or provided that superintendent is not in the process of obtaining and maintaining such requisite Idaho superintendent certification or provisional certification, and should have been struck, or other qualifying designation. So I need clarification if that's what you're referring to.
That is correct.
Okay, and it wasn't ever, I will note for the record that the original addendum was not properly conducted and signed, it was not properly corrected and signed by the chair and Mr. Durst. And that our contract, the 3-day and the contract starting July 31st, or July 1st, 2023, those motions were not correctly made either. None of those contracts were clearly motioned at that time at the June 28th meeting.
Okay. I have a first and a second. All those in favor of the motion that the Board of Trustees of West Barnard County School District do now instruct and otherwise compel Superintendent Durst to apply to the Idaho State Board of Education with the aid of District Legal Counsel for an emergency provisional certificate for the purpose of serving as West Barnard County School District Superintendent for the 2023-2024 school year by a date no later than August 31st, 2023, and further move that upon submission of the application, that any provision related to the certification in the superintendent's agreement shall be null and void and hereby fulfilled in its entirety. All those in favor say aye.
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 Nay.
And again, I'm going to abstain because we didn't have enough notice and nothing should happen today. This whole meeting should be null and void.
Thank you. Okay, the motion carries. Next, I need a motion directing Superintendent Durst to reply to the August 16th, 2023 Idaho State Board of Education letter.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Board of Trustees of West Barnard County School District do now instruct and otherwise compel Superintendent Durst to respond in writing to the State Board of Education by August 23 of 2023 to the issues presented in the district, or to the district in the State Board of Education's letter dated August 16th of 2023, and report back to the board with a response at our next meeting.
Okay, I have a first. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Do I have a second?
I need clarifications. I think before that letter goes in tomorrow, that the full board should see a copy of it, of that response. It should not wait until our next meeting. I do not want to abdicate my role as board member to Superintendent or Mr. Durst to apply to the State Board of Education. It should be from the board. The State Board of Education sent that letter to us.
I second that and agree.
Okay. We have a motion. Did you make a motion?
I would amend that motion that letter, what is our response to the State Board of Education needs to be reviewed by the full board before it goes in, and the signature on that needs to be that of the chair, not Mr. Durst.
I'll second that amendment.
All those in favor of the amendment, say aye.
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 So can we expect that we'll see that before it goes in tomorrow? Is my understanding. Okay.
Okay. I need a motion to adjourn. Did you vote?
No, I didn't need to.
Okay. Is it the same?
Okay, it's sustained.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second that.
Meeting adjourned.